Hey guys, welcome back to On Airbnb Football with Brandon and Bryce. Today we're coming at you with our top 5 free agency moves for fantasy football. So me and him are going to go back and forth on our takes. It's in no particular order. So with that said, Bryce, who you got for number 5?
Alrighty, so at number 5, I got Derrick Henry going to Baltimore. We have him. What did he sign? A 2-year, $16 million deal. So with Derrick Henry going to Baltimore, they usually use their backs a little bit different than everybody else. Never really had in a little while had a number one running back. Could say. But with Derrick Henry, he's known as like the workhorse, known as getting 20 plus carries a game. And I still think they're gonna give him a really big chunk of the offense, try to take the ball out of Lamar. And you saw in the playoffs they didn't run the ball. That's what they want to do.
Right.
So with that, Derrick Henry would definitely be a top 12 running back. Always is when he's healthy. Probably around 1,200 yards, and I'd say probably 8 touchdowns, maybe more. Is my prediction right now.
I like that actually. So if you go back to last year, you look at Gus Edwards in that offense.
Yeah.
Gus Edwards alone got 8 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So I feel like, obviously Derrick Henry, even, being 30, 31 years old, he's going to be better than Gus
Yeah,
Edwards.
for sure.
He always has been, always will be. So if Gus Edwards can get 8 touchdowns, I think in that offense, Derrick Henry could get 10, maybe even 12.
Mm-hmm.
He could definitely finish as like a top 5 running back. Absolutely in the top 12, I would say. No, I'm not positive on where he finished at last year, but I definitely do think that he's going to be top 12 at least this year. Because that Ravens offensive line is gonna do something for him. It's gonna impact him really well. It's gonna take a lot of weight off of Lamar, and obviously their receivers can't handle a huge workload, but it can be helpful for them.
You hit everything. Yeah, like with Derrick Henry, what was he, second in rushing last year?
Yeah, something like that.
So with him, he's always got the rushing stats. He's not a pass catching back at all. So that in fantasy never really has helped him out, but he always has production on the ground.
Touchdown machine,
goal line back, has always production running the ball, always in the top.
Oh yeah. So for number 4, I have Keenan Allen. Obviously we were all shocked that he was traded from the Chargers to the Bears for
I was sure,
like nothing.
Yeah, I would have taken him for a fourth rounder.
Yeah, for real. I think any team would have taken him at that price. But with that said, obviously it's going to affect Justin Herbert and a lot of the Chargers players. But we're actually talking about the new team that he's on, the Chicago Bears. Obviously, DJ Moore in the past years, he's been a really consistent 1,000-yard receiver or almost 1,000-yard, but he's never been an elite tier talent. He's never been a top finisher every year. Like I said, he's very consistent, very helpful for the quarterback, for the team in general, but for fantasy-wise, he's just like he's a good receiver.
Yeah.
He's somebody you get at the right ADP. But, obviously it's going to impact him. It's going to impact the receiving back, DeAndre Swift, that they just got. But, Keenan Allen coming off of his best season with a rookie quarterback at the helm. If you go back, I believe it was the last 10 years, you go back and look at the receivers who had a rookie quarterback, there's only been 7 in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
With a rookie quarterback, and 2
crazy.
of them last year. With Stroud and Bryce Young, with Adam Thielen finished with 1,000 yards, and then Nico Collins did. Tank Dell probably would have had he been healthy. So, but those are one-offs because you look at Stroud and he's a special player. He kind of has a lot going for him. But anyways, Bryce, what do you think?
So you hit on that stat with rookie quarterbacks and all that. So yeah, Caleb Williams, we all know, is going there, of course.
Absolutely.
So yeah, with wide receiver production with rookie quarterbacks, it's very, very weird. Like, it's like you said, like I think the last one before them was like Mike Evans or something, having 1,000 yards receiving. With Jameis Winston, which is a long time ago. So, and that's Mike Evans, who has 1,000 yards every season.
And that was probably his 30-30 season.
That was his 30 season. Yeah, with that offense though, who do you think is the number one receiver? You think Keenan Allen is the number one receiver?
I think by default Keenan Allen will be, just because he came off his best season last year. Yeah, it's not like he's showing signs of aging.
Yeah, you're right.
And
he's always very consistent.
Right.
Always very
He did
consistent.
have Herbert as a quarterback, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't. I mean, we think that Caleb Williams is
Yeah,
going to
that's
be
what
a
everybody's
great,
thinking.
a great talent,
But
we're not positive.
no, no, you
Jamarcus
never know.
Russell looked like the next Caleb Williams,
Yeah,
so
but
you never know.
yeah.
But who do you have for number 3?
Number 3, Saquon. So I've been
like
back
that.
and forth thinking about Saquon. Is he going to be? Saquon's always been consistent when he stayed healthy. And I was always thinking about the touchdowns with the tush push, of course. And I think people are going to look at that and take it out of perspective a little bit from a touchdown standpoint. But I'm thinking they're taking the ball. They want to take the ball out of Jalen Hurts' hands a little bit more. Saquon is a back that New York used him way more than they should have, which I don't think Eagles are going to do it that much. But I think just with the offensive line that the Eagles have, Saquon's going to be the top back in football this year. So, I mean, if he stays healthy, we could be talking 1,800 yards. Probably talking 2,000 yards.
Jeez.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
bold.
I would love for Saquon to be a 2,000-yard rusher. Big Saquon fan. But, I mean, Penn State guy, of course.
Well, I mean, with that, I would say, yeah, they're losing Jason Kelce. I agree with you in some of that, in the sense of he's going to have a great season, I do feel like.
Mhm.
If you look at what he did with the Giants O-line and that team where there was
Nothing, yeah.
where they just constantly fed him the ball, whether it was receiving or running, he can do both. He's great at both. He's going to do great on that for the Eagles as well.
Mm-hmm.
That O-line
stays healthy. He's got to stay healthy.
Yeah, but
got to stay healthy.
But back to the Jalen Hurts vulturing touchdowns away from him at the goal line. That is a very serious thing. When in Lincoln Financial Stadium, when you're there, every fan knows what's happening if they're within 2 yards of the first down marker, 2 yards of the goal line.
Every coach,
everyone knows what's going to happen.
Everybody watching, everybody knows what's going to happen.
So and just as a little spoiler, it's not Saquon getting a touchdown there. It's Jalen Hurts.
It is, but you lose Jason Kelce, who was the middle piece of that. So do you go in a different route? And also,
it worked for him.
That's
the one thing that did.
But do you risk also? You have Saquon back there now, so do you risk a possible Jalen Hurts getting injured too?
I do agree with that part.
Jalen Hurts is crazy athletic, crazy strong. He probably works on not getting injured.
Right.
But I mean, he has had his injuries late in seasons. So does that?
I could see that, especially later in the season. I feel like regardless, the Eagles have their thing, and they're gonna continue to use it.
No,
they use it less now that they have a better back in Saquon, because they've not had a back like Saquon in a while.
No,
Shady probably.
I even think Saquon's better than him.
Yeah. Well,
talent wise.
I don't know. Anyway,
that's a whole different video, different discussion.
All right, number 2, we got Tony Pollard. Yeah, no. So number 2, we got Tony Pollard. So with Tony Pollard, I was personally really excited to see Tyjae Spears in that offense. I thought really they were going to give him the role, not the Derrick Henry role, because that's way too much volume for such a small back.
Yeah.
But I think that's why they went out and got Tony Pollard, because they're going to give him the main role, and then they may sprinkle in a little bit of Spears here and there. But I feel like that diminishes his role at least, and it definitely, or it may take away his role completely. And then for Tony Pollard, he showed you in the past what he's done with the Cowboys when they went out and got rid of Zeke, and what they can do, what he can do without another running back that's battling him for that backfield. And it wasn't that great.
No.
If you had Tony Pollard, where he finished last year wasn't what reflected his season, I feel like. Because his season felt a lot worse, especially if you had him on your team like I did.
Yeah. Me too. I traded away Debo for him, and it was the worst decision I made all year. So, not a big Tony Pollard fan now.
Well, what do you think he's going to do in fantasy next year?
I don't think he'll be. He showed last year without Zeke, especially the second half of the season, what he can do. He can't. He's not a big carry. He needs another running back to help make him explode.
I think if he performs, it'll be through the air. If he does well for fantasy next year, it'll be Will Levis dumping the ball off.
Yeah, he's good at. He's really good at that. He's really good at getting the ball in space and making.
And he'll have his weeks. He'll have his weeks, no doubt.
He will. I don't think he's even like a. I don't even know if I'd put him as my second running back on my team next year.
No,
I think I might
maybe
have
at
him as a
number
flex.
number three.
As a flex next year. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a huge Tony Pollard fan, especially the way he finished last season. Kind of showed what he is as a running back.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not too big on him this year.
Well, who do you have? I'm kind of sick of talking about Tony Pollard. So
Yeah.
who do you have for number one?
Number one would be Kirk Cousins.
So we agreed on
We
this.
agreed on
pick.
Kirk Cousins, yeah. With him, he got his a 4-year, $180 million deal. What is it, guaranteed?
100 million.
100 million guaranteed. Coming off the Achilles injury, I think from his fantasy standpoint, he's gonna stay the same. Always really been very consistent. Was top 12 quarterback in fantasy.
Easily a top 12 every year.
For who he's gonna be throwing the ball to though, I think they're gonna go up like crazy. Like they're gonna.
Do you project Drake London in the Justin Jefferson role for him, or do you think that he'll?
I don't think it's gonna be that.
Not that
crazy. No.
But what do you think he'll be in the role? Like, do you think he can get the amount of targets?
Yeah, I think he could. I think he could definitely. I mean, Drake London could get 100 catches this year.
Yeah,
he got 100 catches. Definitely over 1,000 yards, all that, over 1,200 yards possibly. He's gonna get the ball looking his way. He's a big physical receiver. Honestly, probably I don't know if
he's talented, dude.
Very talented. Yeah, I think he's like I don't know. I don't know if he's as big as Justin Jefferson.
I would say they're around the same.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look at it, but I do think he's got a better like jump ball radius. Showed you that in college. But anyway,
over Jefferson.
Yeah. Just what he did in college baseball wise, but in the NFL, I don't know how it translates.
Right.
But yeah, I think he'll be a top 12 wide receiver this year. He'll be your number one receiver in fantasy, like later in the season. I don't know if he'll start out that way. Of course, in the draft, he'll probably be a third, fourth pick, probably somewhere around that, just from what he did last year. But
are you biting on Pitts this year? So obviously Pitts. If you've had Pitts in the past, know. Yeah. I know.
I'm
sure he probably knows too. We've all been bitten by Kyle Pitts.
What was a big rookie season?
Bit by Pitts.
He had a big rookie season. Who's throwing the ball?
He had a good rookie season. He didn't have a Laporta rookie season.
Yeah, but who was throwing the ball rookie season? Was it Ryan?
Maybe.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it was.
Matt Ryan?
I think it was.
Yeah, so
last year of his career.
So Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins coming.
Hey, but it's number 18, Kirk Cousins.
Oh yeah, I saw that today.
You never know.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not gonna get the targets.
Who knows? But I think Pitts will be a top 12 tight end by the end of the year too. And they're both him and London. I don't see them getting drafted high. They're both probably third or fourth rounders in your fantasy drafts.
Right.
Just because you don't know what's gonna happen. Cousins coming definitely helps. But they'll probably be a third or fourth rounder. But I do think Pitts is gonna get a lot more targets because Pitts is a wide receiver running around.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they figure out a way to run him around. Put him on the outside. Put him on the outside. That's what he did in college.
They'll use Bijan the same way.
Yeah. So Bijan was a big they didn't do as much, but when he did catch the ball, he was electric with catching the ball too, with running and catching. So, but Bijan will he'll definitely be the third down back, I think too. But he'll definitely get way more production this year. I think they're kind of.
He's not going to get Arthur Smith.
No, he's not going to get that. But Algier will get the goal line carries, I think, though. Most of them.
Maybe.
Just depend on how the year's going.
I feel like he'll be used like Wayne Gallman was with Saquon. That's how you're going to see his role.
Yeah.
And I'm going to love every second because I'm drafting Bijan everywhere.
Did you last year?
Yeah. And I got hurt by it.
Yeah, you did. I loved watching Bijan last year. Some of the runs he made were amazing, but his role just made everybody mad.
Yeah.
Every week. That was So what are your thoughts on everything there?
I mean, you summed it up pretty well.
Yeah.
Honestly, pretty popular opinion. I don't even know if that's a word, but I feel like everyone agrees on what is going to happen with the Falcons next year. Obviously, you can't get much worse than Heineke and Ritter.
Yeah.
So Kirk Cousins is an upgrade no matter what. Even Achilles Cousins. But, Drake London will perform. He'll get targeted like Jefferson got targeted over in Minnesota.
I think he'll be forced the ball, because, of course,
That's what
Cousins
Kirk does.
He
Kirk
forces the
it.
ball and sometimes, but I
That's
mean,
good.
but I
That's
mean,
good for
he
receivers
gets
like
the ball.
that's
And
great
I
for
mean,
receivers like Jefferson. You saw it in Minnesota, and
mhm.
it's great for receivers like London and
Yeah.
Pitts. Pitts is a receiver.
He is. He's a receiver.
So I think it's gonna go really well in Atlanta next season.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they'll be
Kirk Cousins,
I don't know.
top 12 finish, probably top 6 to 8, I would say.
Quarterback?
Yeah.
Really? You think so?
I mean, he's always very consistent.
He is.
As long as he stays healthy, he
is.
doesn't look like a whole new quarterback off the Achilles.
Yeah. I don't know if he'll be that. I comfortably have him in my top 12 for now. We'll see. Later how I feel about it. But
if the quarterback play is anything like it has been last year,
mhm.
we're gonna have an easy top 5 finish from Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
But yeah, you never know. With that said, so that's our top 5, but we actually have one honorable mention we'd like to mention because we both agreed on this one as well. It's gonna be Aaron Jones.
Mhm.
So, everybody was shocked when he was released from the Packers after signing Jacobs, but in his revenge team,
revenge against the Packers.
He signs with the Vikings, and with no guaranteed quarterback. They might have a rookie, they might have a free agent. You never know who they're going to get, but it's obviously not going to be a top tier quarterback because they're not going to trade up to number 1. The Bears aren't going to let that happen.
Yeah.
And none of the other quarterbacks are going to be a top tier quarterback of what we think, at least. So Aaron Jones in that backfield pretty much has it to himself. Ty Chandler maybe a little bit on third downs.
Mhm.
But Aaron Jones has showed you nothing but consistency as long as he's healthy. Because last year he was hurt most of the year, but you saw week 1, and then you saw, I think it was like the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season, and in the playoffs he looked elite.
He was amazing. Yeah.
He might be 29-30, but he's got a lot of juice left, I feel like. And you can't have this video without mentioning Aaron Jones.
No,
it's just respect.
Yeah. You nailed a lot of it. So the rookie quarterback's going to be interesting who they bring in, because I mean there's not many free agents left to
Trey
go
Lance,
start.
baby.
Trey Lance goes start for that's not going to happen. But they do have a lot of weapons in Minnesota, but I just think they're going to draft a quarterback. They have to basically now, and honestly have them start.
They might start Darnold.
But I guess you could. But
I mean, but in a sense, if you're looking at Aaron Jones, that could be a good thing. A lot of dump offs.
Yeah, it's just him staying healthy. Aaron Jones, you wanna.
I feel like they might use Chandler a little bit more.
Yeah, that's true too, just to keep him fresh, especially later in the season. I mean, they're not. I don't think they're a playoff team, but I mean, if they were making a push, you never know. Houston.
If they can get quarterback play like the Niners got out of Garoppolo and even Brock Purdy as much as everybody doesn't want to admit that.
Just be a game manager.
Right.
I like Purdy.
If you can be a game manager, the Vikings might have a chance.
Yeah, but I just think with him staying healthy, but when you draft him, you never know where to, like, when he's falling, he's kind of like a second, third rounder. But you always just kind of look at it and I'm like, is he gonna stay healthy?
Right,
is he not gonna stay healthy?
Yeah, it's one of those ones.
It's kind of like, do I want to take him?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
Right.
Maybe not. But I've always been a big fan of him. I think he's gonna have a little revenge tour.
I'd like to see it.
I'd like to see it too.
I hope it happens.
I hope he does good.
Yeah.
5th round, Aaron Jones. No, I think in the 3rd round he's a steal.
But yeah. So with that said, if you don't have anything else to add,
I don't think so.
That was our top 5 with an honorable mention. Free agent moves for fantasy, and just to run you back through them in no order, we have, we got Derrick Henry, we got Keenan Allen, Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard, Kirk Cousins at number 1, and with an honorable mention of Aaron Jones, and that's it. So if you guys would do us a favor, go ahead and like the video for us, subscribe, show us some love. Put in the comments if you want to see any particular videos, if you want to hear anything. And really appreciate you guys watching.